welcome back to our channel. So today we've got a very important guest joining us all the way from South London, Maryum Talks. So she's very similar to us in promoting mental health, positivity. Yep. She's got her own podcast. So we'll link everything down below, but we'll also let you take away and give a little intro of yourself.
Yeah, sure. Great. Thank you. Firstly, thank you so much for having me on your podcast as well.
You're welcome.
So I specialise, as you know, I would say I'm specialise in mental health advocacy. So that's my podcast, specialising a lot in that, but especially the conversations around the South Asian community that we barely talk about. You know, that is something I'm really passionate about. So it's one of the things I really love doing, and I love blogging that on Instagram as well. I love writing poetry as well, which is something that I share on Instagram.
So you're a multi-talent girl.
Well, you know.
So make sure you check everything out of hers. But today,
so she's a multi-girl. Well done.
But today we're focusing on the modern Asian, I suppose, and just having a talk about that, what that means for us, and just some of the experiences we've had with being modern Asians, because it's just so surreal sometimes, isn't it? Being brought up in we're all obviously British, having different cultured friends, but then going home to a different culture. So it's just, it can have its comedic moments, but also it's pulling hair moments.
Yeah, 100%.
So what does it mean to you?
I mean, for me, obviously I'm Pakistani British, so you know, I'm Pakistani Punjabi, but I'm born here. So when people say modern Asian, a lot of people think, okay, if you're modern Asian, what does that exactly mean?
Yeah.
You know? It doesn't mean that you don't identify with your culture. It doesn't mean that you're not cultural at all. You don't know anything about your background.
Yeah, I love that.
But that is actually not the case. I think for me, what it means is the fact that, look, I love my culture. I love being Pakistani. I love where I'm from. But at the same time, when it comes to being British, I'm also proud of that as well. So I identify on both avenues, you know?
Yeah.
But it's also the fact that because we are, like I say, a whole generational thing, you know, we are now brought up in such a way that we can see so many different avenues, that we're more open about, you know, who we are as people. So for me, that's what being modern is.
Yeah.
You know, we're not set in the backward mentality, you know, in that kind of sense. We're set in the more forward-thinking mentality.
Love that.
Yeah.
And Kieran, what does it mean to you? Kieran's obviously my sister.
I would say being modern. What was the question?
So what does being a modern Asian mean to you?
Modern Asian. I would probably say being modern Asian is like what Maryum said, just I think still having your values, still having the culture, because obviously at home, not gonna lie, we do eat roti, dal, you know, all of that. Still being able to follow our dreams, so being able to have a good career and good, even a voice now, to have a voice, what we're doing, to have a platform. You know, some people don't even have that, wouldn't have had that back in mom's day. What was it like back in
my days? Is you have to be basically a housewife. That's they used to be look at, you know. you cook, clean, produce babies. That is your job.
It was so crazy.
If you want to go to study, now girls, they don't. Why do you need to study for? What you gonna do? Are you gonna go for it a job? You know? Yeah.
It's funny you say that, because my mum. That's what she always identified herself as.
Yeah.
Whenever people used to ask her, so what do you do? She goes, I'm a housewife.
Yeah.
You know, and that was normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
For her to say that, because okay, fine, she's a housewife. You know, whereas my dad was the one that was going out working and doing everything. But I think now that's changing. You know, for us as women,
definitely.
you know, now we're working women.
Yeah,
you know,
we're an equal. We bring something
have
to the
own
party.
careers that we want to, you know. So now it's becoming more equal for men and women.
On LinkedIn, I contact with this guy. He's a Pakistani. He's education. He had a good education, but he's like a designer. And he called me. He said, "Oh, are you single?" And I said, "Oh, what do you mean by single?" He said, "Oh, are you housewife?" I said, no, I'm bloody businesswoman. What do you want?
Wait, was that on LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn, yeah.
When did LinkedIn become a dating site?
I think LinkedIn is really.
Really, honestly. And
Mom gets all of them. You wouldn't believe.
She gets it like you wouldn't even
oh my
believe.
days, that absolutely.
I don't know why I attract these people.
That's so funny. But yeah, I think touching on
But it's
Maryum.
the same, like mentality is still there. Even men are educated, but still they think, girls or women, they still have to be a housewife or they don't need to work or whatever.
So for me and Kieran, we grew up in like a very non-Asian area. So for us, I think
And by non-Asian, it means
Where
all
was
white.
we
were the only Asians.
Specifically.
Worcestershire.
Worcester.
So we were the only Asians basically.
Yeah.
We were the only non-white there. So I think for us, we had a bit of a, I don't know about Kieran, but definitely me, had like a bit of a culture, like identity crisis, I would probably call it.
I would say, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like growing up, it was very much like there was no difference between us and like our friends. We all, like, they never treated us that differently to the surface. Obviously, there were sometimes little comments here and there that would come out because it was just like, it was such a it was such a white area, an English area that they had never seen colour before. So for us, it was like going through a phase where it was like Mom was very, very proud Indian. So Mom's from India and our dad's was actually a British born. But Mom was like proud Indian. So I'd come home and it would literally be like the movie. So I'd go out me and Kieran would go out and my brother into a very English school. Then would come home into a very Indian family. Mom was like, India.
Yeah, so she brought
like
that back
power
to you.
India. So it took me a while to know like where I stood as a British Indian.
Yeah.
And for me, what a modern Asian is like being open-minded, being accepting of other cultures, everything that's so great about being British, being able to wear what we want, get our own jobs, women being able to do what we can do in this country as opposed to being in India. Like if we be in India, it's just so much harder. You've got so many barriers to push. So 100%. Taking advantage of all that here, but keeping your values still alive. So still appreciating that you are Indian. It took me a while to be like, actually, I'm proud that I'm Indian. So,
I think it's like a time thing. I think you need, like, through your teens, I think, especially me, I just wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I just want to be like my friends,
Why have I got a mustache?
It's funny you say that as well, actually. For me, you said obviously you were brought up in a predominantly like less Asian area.
Yeah.
For me, coming from South London, I was brought up there. I had been brought up a lot with, there was a lot of Muslims around me. There were white people as well, and other, and it kind of happened opposite effects, because I was in that community and I saw it everywhere around me, and then I didn't see much of the other identity a lot around me. I didn't really understand. I was finding that bit of struggle as well, trying to fit in. So going to secondary school, you're trying to fit in. It changed when I went to uni, and that's when I saw there was not a lot of Muslims there, not a lot of Asian there, but again it gave me a chance to really try to understand who I was as a person. And then I don't know whether you guys feel as well, like when you go back home, so for me going back to Pakistan, I think that's what changed everything. When I went to Pakistan and I see the whole difference of how they are there, the women, because we have some women in the villages, and how they are, they may not have the same freedom as we have, they may not be able to do as much as we do. So that's when you kind of realise, you see that whole different hierarchy of that as well. You see the difference of that.
And Mom,
I think it's like, you should proud. You are Indian, you got values, and you also are very like,
or Pakistani or Bengali,
and
Asian,
wherever you come from. But you are here, you educated, you got world, like, nothing can stop you now.
The world is your oyster.
So it's like, sky is the limit. Basically you got opportunity, so you should be like, take this advantage, and go for it.
What is your opinion on people who, because like we've noticed, I'm not sure about your culture, how's the difference, but I've noticed that people of our culture, maybe British Asians more, are trying to hold on to it harder here because we're not actually
Yeah.
in India. So what's your advice on that, being
That's
from
it.
India?
Yeah, I think it's like India or Pakistan, our countries or even Bangladesh, all these Asian people, they are more modern than we are here.
They're moving forward.
Yeah.
With
They are moving forward. A lot of things are
so
moving forward.
they are very modern. They accept everything. Like they, marriage with outcasts, things like that. But here
They're very
we are
chill,
narrow-minded, very very narrow-minded.
Yeah, you're so
And
right.
it's like people try to hold on harder to the culture here
Yeah.
because we're not actually connected to
I
the
kind of
motherland.
understand to a degree, don't you? Because obviously you think, maths.
Yeah, must
I
keep
think
it
it's
alive.
Let's keep it alive, but you're still Indian.
Yeah, no one can take that away.
no one can take that away, and I'm not.
Yeah, I think what they need to do actually, like right, we are here. They don't forget who they are, but also move with the time.
Move
Because
with
the
times,
they're
that's
trying
it,
to,
yeah. Rather than staying just where you are.
where they are,
Yeah.
like they are backward, like 80s. They're living 80s still.
Yeah.
We are in 21st century. You're not matching. Your children's going forward. You are behind as a parent. Obviously, your communication skills doesn't work.
And I think
at all.
again, you say it's funny, because if you don't do that, then what does that do? That builds that struggle, that relationship. That's where the kids will suffer as well. Because they're trying to identify and trying to relate to their parents. And then they can't be honest with them. Okay, oh wow, I want to marry this person. Oh no, you can't marry them due to their car.
And the relationships
Yeah.
is broke as well, isn't it? With your parents, and obviously it's gonna affect your marriage as well in the future, because it's not, you're gonna struggle with your parents, and you're never gonna have a happy ending, because it's like one part of you still behind and one part is going forward, so it's not matching.
Yeah.
So-
That is the problem. So
Yeah.
guys, old and young, try to fit together. Go with the time.
Move with the times, yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than
Yeah.
disappointment.
10 minutes
back.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it would be interesting to know, from our point of view, we grew up very with not much culture growing up, but growing up with a lot of cultures, a lot of voices and opinions, how did that affect you? Because there are going to be a lot of people listening who might have grown up in a
funny
very
you say
cultured.
that. So I brought up, obviously, from coming from Pakistani background, I have a lot of my cousins, my uncles. We have a very big family here, and when I was younger, we were very, very close. Probably not so much now, but anyway, we were very close.
That's
then.
how it always
That
is,
was
isn't it?
happening.
We
I'm not
always
gonna-
play together
I'm not
as
going to delve into
kids.
the politics. But we were very close then. So, we've had that proper Pakistani culture, and a lot of them are very religious as well. So it was very, like, you have to be a certain way.
Yes.
The men were more dominant,
Yeah.
the girls not so much. So that's what I used to see a lot of growing up. Until things started changing as I started growing up and started educating myself more, gaining my own independence. I think that's what helped me to become who I am. If I didn't do that, then maybe I wouldn't have been able to identify through that. I feel culture is important,
Very, yeah.
but what I don't think is good is when you try to put yourself in a box and especially for women, I would say as well, when they try to be like, you have to be a certain way, they're trying to put you in a little box, that's what you are supposed to be like, and then when you try to come out of that box, they're like,
Excuse me, get back in the box.
get back in the box. They're not used to it.
Yeah.
So you have to change it.
Yeah.
We have to change that conversation.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm the way I am, my my dad or my other uncles, whatever, they could be like, okay, they can't say nothing now.
Yeah.
They can see me for who I am as a person, independent woman.
I
When
love
you
that.
were like growing up, because obviously you're Pakistani, did you ever have any like pressure of trying to get you married, or like did you get any?
Yeah, that's a no. Of course. Yeah, of course. Do you know what it is? I think it was more so before.
Yeah.
I think now it's more the fact like my parents more like, can you just tell us yourself now, please? Can you just tell us yourself now who the hell you want to marry?
Yeah.
So it's more like that now. But before it was like they did try that.
Yeah.
Before it was like, okay, you know,
love
we
that.
need to arrange your marriage now. But
Maryum, you're so inspirational because
Yeah.
it's easy for Kieran and I, and
Yeah.
obviously we had a very strong mother that helped us build us to who we are now, and I'm very aware that Mom kind of made us the way we are.
yeah, you know, it's brilliant. It's
But
absolutely
for
brilliant.
you to grow up in such a culture, like everyone has their opinions when there's so much culture around you, and to come out strong as an inspirational woman, that's what I would urge all of our listeners and viewers. If you're especially if you're young and you're feeling a bit confused of where you
100%.
sit in the culture and British Asians and listening, and just like Maryum said, you need to be who you are, and Kieran says this all the time, just know who you are, be who you are, and then let everyone follow, because sometimes we need to pave the
Yeah,
way for
100%,
people and
yeah.
let our parents follow, let the kids follow, but just don't lose our value. What would you say, Mom, as a proud Indian?
Proud Indian, don't lose the value. That's the one thing. You know who you are. That's like one thing is gonna help you to go forward, but also find your dreams. Girls especially, do not think, oh, don't feel pity for yourself. This is my thing. We sometimes feel sorry for ourselves and don't able to do things. Rather than get up and do it, you fail, do it again, fail, do it again, and educate people like your family, your friends, and I think education is the important
Yeah,
fact
definitely.
is needed here.
What would you say?
I would definitely say, like what Mom said, like I think sometimes it's gonna take time for you to like realize and grow into who
Yeah.
you are, who
Yeah.
you want to be. But definitely, I think you need to educate, look at history, culture, your family.
Yeah, that's a good one. Listen to your stories of your parents in
Yes,
a way.
100%.
It will make you appreciate what we've got way more.
Definitely.
Because listening to a Mom had it, I'm like, wow, like I can appreciate the fact that I didn't have
Yeah.
all of that to deal with. And life's quite easy for us, really, in comparison. So
Yeah, no, sometimes we take that for granted.
Yeah,
we do.
Because I listen, that's what I do as well. I've listened to stories of my mum, you know, growing up, she's like, you know, and she grew up in the village in Pakistan. So when I listen to that, it makes me like that. She went through so much.
Yeah.
That was her story. you know,
Yeah,
and
like
I'm
when I came, I could not speak English. Like still, my children still making fun of my accent. Say you are freshy. I'm proud to be freshy.
We don't say you're freshy. We love your accent.
yeah, we love her.
No,
accent.
no, we love the
Can you speak
accent.
to me?
No.
She normally say, "How do you speak to me?" She just put
Puts
on
on
accent.
accent.
Yeah, I love it
especially.
though.
Yeah.
No, but for ages I didn't even realize Mom had an accent.
No,
and then
I didn't as well.
When
growing
my
up,
friends were
because
like,
it's
When
normal.
did you realize?
my friends were like, oh, I was like, my mum doesn't have an accent. They were like, yes, she does. And I was like, what? They were like, it's an Indian accent. I was like, I was so shocked. I was like, that was
I
like a
didn't- I
revelation.
didn't-
You guys like you.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
found out about when I was about 16, 17.
Yeah, I
and
was
I was
quite
like, really?
old.
Mom's got an Indian accent. Even now I can hardly hear it. But
And my son, when he doesn't like something about myself, or we have a little argue, he always tells me in my accent, doesn't he? He's like, doesn't he?
Well, he
I
doesn't
can't-
make fun of you.
Yeah, making fun of me, or I
Aw.
can't remember exactly what he normally says, but he always bring accent in it.
We love your accent.
Yeah.
I love your accent, guys.
Except
Wherever
for-
you're from.
Well, I'm
innit?
quite proud who
one
I
Yeah,
thing
am.
I
okay.
would say as well is this idea of being a coconut. That's something I think
Oh,
that
that's
we
more,
need to
yeah.
break barriers down. if because saying that to someone like you can say that to someone, but you don't know who they really are. So like, let's try not to judge each other as well. Just because, like you said, someone's paving their own way.
Yeah.
Let's not say, oh, they're not Indian because they're doing that. It's like they're still Indian. You can't take that away from them.
I get called a coconut all the time.
Yeah,
and it
same.
does frustrate me sometimes.
But I kind of let it pass now because I'm like, well, they can never take the Indian out
Yeah.
of me. I'm Indian, but I'm still gonna do what it's like.
Yeah,
like you said,
exactly.
it's a box thing. They're
It is
trying
a
to put
box
you
thing,
back in
yeah.
your box.
You know, it doesn't mean that you don't care about your culture. You
Yeah.
don't identify it. It's just the fact that you're changing the way you do
Yes,
things.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
you still love where you
it.
come from.
Yeah.
You know,
We
where
love-
your parents from. You still will
Yeah.
love that, but
Yeah.
you just want to change it. You
Yeah.
want to do it in a different way.
Yeah.
Bring it out in another
I
way.
love that. So biggest takeaway of today is you can keep your culture, but keep doing you. Basically.
Yeah,
Yes,
basically. Just
definitely.
keep it
Yeah,
honest,
you as an individual, don't forget who you are, and that's it. That's just keep that in mind. Don't forget who you are.
But keep
inside.
it alive.
Yeah.
Keep it alive. Keep like learning and doing it.
Yeah.
But but be open.
Open-minded. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and what would you want to, from the Pakistani side and the background of that, what would be your biggest message on that?
I think my biggest message is that, you know, always be proud of where you come from, and you know, no matter where you are from, but just try not to put yourself in that box.
Yeah.
You know, break out that box and just do what you need to do.
That's it.
Yeah.
Love that.
Agree.
Love that.
We agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So thank you for listening, everyone. We'll link all of Maryum Talks stuff all down below. As usual, we'll link all of our stuff down below.
Thank you, guys.
And
We
we'll
hope you
see
enjoyed
you there.
it.
Yeah?
We've also done a collab with Maryum, so go check that out.
Yeah.
So we'll see you there, and we'll probably do something else soon.
Yeah.
So check that out.
Check that.